Hi everyone, hope you're well. So, my last video, not my last one, but the video titled Pinephone Improved this year, where we talked about a challenge to one of the commenters on his so-called lots of improvement. So, um, somebody called NO112 replied to that comment string, but for reasons I don't understand, it never appeared in the video. The only reason I know about it is every time you guys post something, I immediately get an email with it. Now, I've had this happen a couple other times recently, but it looked like bot postings the first two times. But this guy had a huge paragraph and links to click on and a whole bunch of descriptions. I don't know if YouTube filters it out because of the links or whether this guy deleted himself because I can't even find NO112 as a user on YouTube anymore. So it's like his account doesn't even exist. So I don't know if this is real or not. So let's go through what he says, and we'll see if there's any value in what he says. So I'm going to read it. The firmware. So he numbers his subjects. Number one, the firmware issue is definitely tricky, but as far as I am aware, the issue is more so that it's in active development, as well as regulatory requirements, especially as a liability thing. Nothing, however, prevents the end user from modifying the firmware. No legal limitations nor license agreement issues prevent this. I wouldn't be so confident without finding out for sure what the legal requirements. If the vendor can't do it, just because you're an end user and you're harder to prosecute, doesn't mean it's still legal. Anyway, let's move on. Open source the firmware is a huge step forward for the development of the device. I'm kind of dismayed that it's not already open source, because I thought that's what we were working on here. It's kind of counterproductive to have a closed source firmware on the hardware that runs an open source product. Anyway, where did I leave off? The firmware is a huge step forward for the development of this device, even if it may seem insignificant now. Number two, the Pinephone does feature a graphic processing unit. It's the MALI 400 MP2 to be specific, and he's correct. I checked that out, and I heard someone else say that it didn't have one. I don't know where I got that from. Apparently it was fake news. My apologies for that. If you'd like to know more about the specifics of the SOC, and S is capitalized and C is capitalized, the O is lowercase. I don't know what SOC is. This is a great resource, and it's a link to linux-sunxi.org/A64. Don't know what that is. Don't want to click on it because I'm fearful of that shit, especially because this was a deleted message, so the link might be malicious. The advance in hardware acceleration entirely contributed to a better phone experience. Number three, Waydroid improvements, while monumental, apparently it's huge, are somewhat of a divided issue, but at its core it allows users who need to use certain software packages that are not natively supported in the Linux operating system to function. Oh, okay. It doesn't really explain why it's divided and why it's so monumental. It sounds like a hypervisor to me. They've been around for 10 years, nothing special about that. Anyway, this can be anything from social media to applications needed for employment-related reasons. The end goal is to feature 100% native support, but unfortunately there's a multiple-party effort due to the nature of Linux support and the mobile phone market in general. But he doesn't really explain why it's unfortunate. Let me read that again. The end goal is to feature 100% native support. What does he mean by native support? Support of what? Waydroid, I guess. But unfortunately, there's a multiple-party effort due to the nature of Linux support and mobile phone market in general. I'm not sure what that means. I did enjoy your video, thank you. And I love the idea of challenging users. So do I, because a lot of people say a lot of stuff that, well, it's fake news and they need to be corrected. Just doesn't this guy with the video acceleration chip. You know, if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm also going to add my own improvement of sorts, one that sits more under the hood. So I assume he's a developer. A lot of development has gone into the power management and thermal control of the SoC. There that is again. I'll have to Google that. Just stand by for a minute. I gotta find out what that is. Okay, it appears to be an acronym for System on a Chip. So I guess this is where they pack a whole bunch of stuff into a chip, and it's a system all of itself, rather than being a component in a board of things to make a system that way. So anyway, so not really sure how that applies. Something to do with the video chip. He mentions it when he talks about the chip. Now he's mentioning it after we talk about the Waydroid virtual improvement thing. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'll have to have somebody who knows better explain that to me. Okay. So a lot of development's gone into the power management control for the SoC. This allows for better battery life, better performance, and means the phone can be a phone. It can be a it can be a phone for longer. If you prefer to have a more in-depth discussion, I welcome you to join the Pine64 community chat, and it's available, and he gives links, stuff like that. And this is a very alphanumeric cryptic link, crypticlink.matrix.org, and I'm not inclined to click on it because when I hold my mouse over it, it says something else. Let me get it out and read it to you. SB Mini Me K. Anyway, it's not English, so I don't know if it's legit or not. Only because this message was deleted by YouTube, then I'm not going to click on those links. Anyway, so it's an invitation to join at this Matrix place for the Pine64 community. Also Telegram, and he's got a link for Telegram, but it uses the t.me short form for the link there. So again, I'm not inclined to click on that unless I have a victim machine to do it from, which I don't want to pollute a machine right now because I just have to rebuild it if it gets contaminated. Anyway, so in closing, he says all of these are bridged together to make it easier to communicate in the entire community. So, and there's also a link to Discord too, which I think I joined up to a while ago. But you know, I don't want to join all these people. Like, you got to remember, I don't want to be a developer. I'm not interested in spearheading the Pinephone to market. It's not my job. I want to be an end user of a quality product that allows me to stop the bleeding of my personal information to big tech. That's my goal here. Nothing else. If you want help with the phone, I'll tell you what sucks about it so that you can fix it. But that's the end of my input. I'm not going to work with people on developing it. It's just not what I'm looking to do. So I just want to show you the message so you can actually see that I did get it. And there it is, N0112. You know, I don't know if it will flip. It doesn't flip for some reason. Oh, just a minute. So there are some of those hyperlinks I was telling you about. So you can see what they are. I'm not familiar with them, and as I say, I don't find out whether they're malicious or not. So this message never made it to the video it was intended for. I find this happens periodically with YouTube. I always know I assumed in the past that the users deleted it for whatever reason, but I got a couple a week ago that were apparently bots. I'll show them to you. There's one there. And again, this user does not exist. So there's another one. Because when you click on that name, it should go to the user's YouTube channel. And if you can see the text on that #Vaughn.rent, it's a hyperlink, and allegedly there's some kind of malicious code on those. So that's why they were never posted to the video that they're commenting to. So yeah, so let's just recap that. Okay, so allegedly there is GPU in the original Pinephone. I'm not sure if he's correct about the firmware. You know, if the vendor cannot by default include it, either he doesn't want to pay for licensing, or they don't want to let him have it, or offer him a license to modify that. Manufacturers like that. They want their firmware to be on their chip and nobody else's. And just going ahead and flashing it anyway, you can't build a product that is going to be marketed on something that violates a statute or regulation. It's just never going to work. So that would have to be solved. Either the chip guy for the modem has got to come to the party, or you have to use his firmware and deal with the shortcomings of it, if there are any. And this Waydroid thing, I don't know why is it monumental. He doesn't say. So this guy has a great speech. You know, when I first saw this, I thought, wow, this guy's put a lot of thought into this, and I wish he would be around to could tell us some more. But you know, I like the way he liked that I'm challenging users, because I mean I'm just doing the Jimmy Dore thing. Or, you know, so many people on the internet, nobody really has their own channel. They just critique other channels, and that becomes their channel. There's so many people that do it. You know, Tim Pool. I can think of all sorts of people. They just look at other people's work and they criticize it or compliment it, depending on the situation, or agree with it or disagree with it. But it's become a YouTube flavor of its own, where you know, the news is other people's news. Anyway, having said that, thanks for listening, everyone, and watch for my next release of a video. Thanks again. Take care. Oh, by the way, still don't buy Pinephone, any version, until the, you know, the time is right. And so far, it's not in no time soon. Thank you.